Hello and welcome to the grand finale of season 2 of CHRO Club. Today we are joined by Shaji Mathew, CHRO of Infosys. Infosys is one of the most innovative organizations of India and he steers HR for a global workforce of over 320,000 and is shaping future of work at scale. Thank you for talking to us. Thank you for being part of CHRO Club. Let me begin by asking you, according to Tech 100, a report by Brand Finance, just recently launched for 2025 edition, Infosys has leaped to 25th position, being only two Indian companies in top 25. As HR, how do you support business?
First of all, Puja, welcome to Infosys and thank you for being here. It is a recognition that we are very proud of, first of all. In an industry which is focused on services, people are really at the core of everything that we do. So these recognitions are, as much it is part of our business growth, it is also a testament to our people strategy and the culture in the organization. So from an HR perspective, when you ask how do we enable, I will broadly classify this into two buckets. One is about how do we get ready for this transformation that we are seeing in the industry today with AI pervasively changing everything that is happening around us. So we need to transform our workforce to be AI ready. We look at this from a spectrum of one, consumers of AI, two, integrators of AI, and three, creators of AI. And from that spectrum, we then have to align our training program because one size does not fit all. As you would know, we are a 330,000 people workforce. We work out of 59 different countries, 150 different nationalities, all of that. So we need to have a customized program for different kind of people. So we have got programs aligned to each of these kind of people. So the consumers of AI are like people who use AI to augment their work. So it could be like a developer who use GitHub Copilot to use to do the work, or a recruiter who would use AI tools to shortlist the resumes or to have interview done using AI-based bots. Integrators of AI are the ones who develop AI solutions for our clients as well as for Infosys. And the creators of AI are those who create our own small language models, fine-tune them, and all of that. So depending on this hierarchy, we have training programs aligned to each one of them to keep them ready so that they can add value to the business. It is also about structurally looking at what is required for the future. So we will have to, in a human plus AI paradigm, humans will do certain part of the work, AI agents will do the other part of the work. The other aspect is what I call HR as a business.
Yeah.
Now, in fact, there was a study done by World Economic Forum recently, and they said that the single most important attribute for an HR personnel going forward is going to be their business acumen. Now, so we say business HR as a business function. So that means multiple things. First, it's about every HR professional understanding the business a lot better so that they can serve the business better. The second part is we look at the metrics that matter for the company, revenue, margin, all of that. And what are some of those initiatives that we take up to influence all of these metrics? And all of these metrics are also part of our own KPI. So we have a direct influence on the business. So in essence, we support business by adding capacity, capability, and also really bringing a culture of innovation in the company.
Oh, very interesting. And thank you for decoding HR's role in business so meticulously. This is nothing short of a masterclass, actually. So when you talk about culture, yes, it is such a razor sharp tool with HR. And for an organization like Infosys, which is so large with global footprint, how would you define culture and make sure that it evolves rather than dissolves?
Very interesting question. I often say that what differentiates an organization from any other is its culture. Because the technology, the tools, all of that is available for everybody. People make the difference, the culture make the difference. And in Infosys, we have this saying that you can take a person out of Infosys, but you can't take the Infosys out of the person. There's a interesting anecdote. We have this alumni meets we conduct every now and then. Recently, in one of the alumni meets, someone stood up and said, I still have my Infosys ID as my phone lock password. Then few more people said, I also have that. Just to say that, that culture in our organization is something which is very, very strong. What we did was, instead of assuming that culture is something, we went back to the people, 30,000 people across the globe, across job levels, and we asked them, what do you consider as part of Infosys culture? Based on tens of thousands of feedback that we've got, we then distilled that to 5 top culture markers. People said our value system is one of the key markers of our culture. Our value system, we use an acronym CLIVE. CLIVE stands for C is for customer value. L is for leadership by example. I is for integrity. F is for fairness. And E is for excellence in everything that we do. So it was not surprising that that foundation, the bedrock of that value system itself, something which is really time invariant for us. People see as part of our culture. Then people said a culture of learning. And if you look around, there is a lot of investment as an organization we have put into learning, whether it is a physical infrastructure that we have built in Mysore or our digital infrastructure through the Lex, which is our learning platform. Third, they said it's a culture of care. This is an organization that cares, especially in bad times. And there are some tremendous number of examples for that. Fourth, they said it's a culture that looks at inclusivity. And then the fifth, they said the culture of collaboration. And the collaboration also something very interesting to me because we keep talking about one Infosys. And that again goes to say that the collaboration is really a big part of our culture. So these are the 5 pillars or the markers of our culture that we have identified in the last 2 or 3 years. And there are no surprises for me, though it came through a participative process. And then we went on a journey to imbibe that culture across the company. Like I said, all the different countries across the spectrum of people. And we have a 3-pronged approach. We call it a 3E approach. First is to educate people on the culture. Second is to enable the leaders and managers on culture. And the third is to experience culture physically, digitally, and all of that. So there is an elaborate process. So in some way, culture is what we live every day in the company. And that's how we take it forward.
Yeah, I can see that culture is not taken casually. It's a rock solid mandate that you've created with, scientific reasoning and evidence. So, talking about remote working and, since 3-4 years, remote working is here and it's here to stay. And it's really revolutionized the way work actually happens. So how do you anchor culture, performance, engagement for a diverse workforce across geographies via remote working?
Yeah. So for us as a global organization, connecting with people in a remote, in a virtual way has always been part of our way of working, right? Because we have people across countries, different time zones, all of that was always there. First, if I look at India itself, after the pandemic, people went to all part of the country. So some 3,000 different locations in India itself. So one of the things that we said is, can we, if people can't come to the office, can we take the offices closer to them? Therefore, we set up development centers in many places in the last 3 years, like Coimbatore, Noida, Kolkata, we have one in Gift City, and there are many, several other places that we have started. And our Lex platform obviously makes it easier for people to learn. And we are also bringing in hyper-personalization through this platform. Today in Lex, if you want to learn a particular technology or any of that, it understands your current set of skills, and it will guide you through a journey as to how you can move to this learning path. But even further, going ahead in terms of hyper-personalization, if you like to learn in a certain way, say for example, you like to learn through analogies, it can actually transform that entire content through, say, some mythological characters and help you learn the way you would like to learn. So we are able to bring a lot of hyper-personalization into it. And again, that helps in a hybrid kind of environment because you can't physically reach out to each person in a classroom setup. But that is not to say that there is no focus on the physical connect also. And this is where I said we got a lot more intentional about the connect, even in a physical manner. So we've started something called InfoTribes in the last 3 years. InfoTribes are groups of people who are connected on various areas of their interests. It could be sports, it could be cultural, it could be technology, any of that. Now, these InfoTribes are today across the globe.
Having the right intent goes a long way in getting the right output. And, another thing is very evident is that you not only use tech for your, deliveries and client work, but use a lot of tech for your workforce as well. Yeah. So, talking about well-being and a thriving workforce, what kind of interventions have helped you here at Infosys to reduce burnout? And especially we understand how, margins are so tight in this industry, and the client expectations keep rising, and so does the expectations from employees. So how do you prevent burnout?
So we have a very holistic program. There's a program which is called HAIL, which is really our well-being initiative. And it looks across the spectrum because we need to focus across physical well-being, social well-being, mental well-being, all of that. So this HAIL is actually an award-winning program which focuses across the spectrum of all this. So physical well-being, obviously you have seen our campuses, there are many facilities to really ensure that there is physical activity happening. On top of it, we also run some challenges so that people come forward and run all that. From a social well-being, so we had a research program with NIMHANS, and one of the things that they said that social connects, especially at work, is something which can actually have a very positive impact. Now, obviously, we connect people through various channels that I spoke about earlier, but we have also did something unique this time. We started a program called. So this is to bring our buddies together, right? So this program essentially will create a platform for people to come together and connect. And we call it as Infinite Bonds. And of course, the mental well-being is another important aspect of that. Again, several interventions we have around that. We have do certain certifications, again, with NIMHANS, where people act, these are our own senior people who act as people who can give the counseling to them. Yeah. We've got something called a Good Samaritans Network. Again, our internal workforce, senior people who act as mentors to guide and counsel people when they need. And of course, we have external counselors who are available on our campus. But since you mentioned about the burnout, there is also something that we do. We want to make sure that people don't get burned out. So we actually do keep a track of people who work very long hours on a constant basis, and we reach out to them saying that how can we help. We also reach out to their managers to see if there is any support that they need. Do we need to augment the team, or do they need any other support that is required to ensure that people don't work very long hours on a continuous basis. There are always short bursts. Sometimes you may have to work a little extra and all that, but this is like continuous long is not good for anybody. So that's something that we track and help people also.
Yeah, prevention is always better than cure.
Yep.
So, Shaji, you've often spoken about digital first to cloud first to AI first, shifts. So, what does AI in HR mean for workforce, roles, jobs?
So AI in HR, so I'll split this into two parts, right? One is AI for the larger organization because it is HR responsibility to enable people to be AI ready. And I did talk about the training program. So we've
Yes.
got a program which we call AI Aware, AI Builder, AI Master. So AI Aware is for everybody in the company. Today, about 275,000 plus people have taken that certification. And then the AI Builder and Master for the higher levels of expertise. So that's one way of enabling the larger cross section of people. And it is not only about enabling people, it's also about are they ready to apply this knowledge in the work, right? So we will have hackathon, ideathon, all of that, and sandbox environment for people to experiment and get better at it. And also we create an environment where they can experiment. There is no fear of failure. Then I did mention about we also have to make structural interventions in our career architecture. We have to bring in deep expertise, technology domain. We have to introduce some new roles, all of that. So there are certain design changes that we have to do within the organization to, again, get ready for AI. We call ourselves navigators for our client. And if we have to be navigators, we got to be ready before our clients are ready. So that's really the part about that. Then to your point on AI in HR, that's about bringing in a lot of capabilities within HR, right? So we started with creating an AI assistant. Now, AI assistant, when I looked at it, there were a few 100,000 queries that we get from across the globe.
Yeah.
People have questions about their policies, regarding their travel, benefits, all kind of questions, right? So I said, let's create this AI assistant which are trained on all our policies, all our documents, so that it can then start answering. The other part of other work that we are doing is really bringing in AI right from hired all the way to retire. This entire process is we are introducing AI agents to take away a lot of the work which our HR partners, HR folks will do today, and release a lot of those efforts so that they can really work with the people, and they can give a lot more higher end value added, more of strategic work, and a lot of this work that AI can do can be done by AI. So that is the other part of bringing in AI into and HR. And of course, the learning part is also part of our responsibility. And I talked about the AI agent that we have there, which bring in hyper personalization in the training part. So all of those we have in place today.
And what about decision making? How is AI helping you with that?
So AI gives us information and help us with the data, help us the required artifacts. Ultimately, the decision is still made by the human beings. Yeah.
And with AI embedded HR processes, how do you kind of make sure that the algorithms are not biased? What is your thoughts around responsible AI?
Very, very important, very, very critical. Especially in AI, you've got to be bias free. There has to be transparency. You can't have any compromise on data. Data privacy is extremely important. Security is important. All of that, right? But Infosys as an organization, we take the entire responsible AI very, very seriously. We are one of the first company to get certified on ISO 42001. So we have a responsible AI office, responsible AI framework. We look at this on 3 levels, right? One is on technical guardrails. Second is on a process guardrail, and the third is on legal guardrail. So the technical guardrail is about bringing in technology to make sure that there's no bias and there is transparency and all of that. Legal guardrail because there are regulatory changes
Yes,
coming in across the
compliances.
globe, right? There is EU AI Act, US has got its own, possibly, maybe even some of the states have got its own. So what you develop for a certain country, certain region may not necessarily work for
Work
some
for the
other
other.
place. So it's extremely important that we understand the regulatory framework before we roll it out to any country. So there is a strong guardrail framework for that. And the third one is on the process guardrail, which is the entire governance framework around it to make sure that whatever we roll out goes through a certain process, certain levels of approval. It goes to the RAI office and their check, all of that. So that process makes sure that what we roll out, it is bias free, it is transparent, it is secure, all of that. So this three-prong approach of technology, process-driven, and the legal-based is the way we look at the RAI.
So, next I want to talk about your career. You started as a young engineer, you grew up the ranks, and also you are walking the talk about, cross-functional roles, and you've jumped different roles. Tell us about how does engineering skills help you right now in HR?
See, first of all, moving from a business to HR is not very uncommon. In fact, I have seen many HR leaders across the globe, coming from a business
Yes.
background. Um, yes, I started as a software engineer, software developer, moved through various roles, and now as a CHRO. And I think all my learnings, all my experience, especially that business knowledge over 3 decades, I think it really helps in this function. So business acumen is becoming one of the most important and critical aspect for any HR leader. And for me, that's really where I am coming from, and it really helps me in the function. Second, the fact that I spent so many years in the company, I know the company, I know the culture of the company,
Yes.
I know the people. Most of these people would have worked with me in some capacity or other, and that makes it a lot more easier, right? And the third part, I would say, today we are talking about AI everywhere. So having a technology background um, definitely helps.
We are always very curious about what kind of conversations does a CHRO have with the CEO? I mean, to what extent is a CEO invested in, people, culture, talent practices, and, those kind of thing? So, what are your
Significantly,
thoughts?
significantly. And again, like I
Okay.
said, we are a people-based organization, an IT services industry, and to me, I think people are really the core asset. So CEO's conversation or even the board level conversation are the significant focus on people and also guiding the organization for the future, right? How do you keep the organization future ready for the years to come? So the conversations are again about the talent transformation today, especially from an AI perspective. How do you create that AI ready workforce? The other part of the conversation would be about leadership development. We set up a leadership institute a few decades ago. So that's something which continued to have the focus. And the third one, I would say, succession planning, right? Again, when you look at future proofing the organization, how do you enable our leaders so that they are ready to take the future roles?
In your long tenure in Infosys, you must have seen Infosys reinvent itself multiple times. There was this year 2000, and now there is digital AI. So, what have been some of the turning points that you have seen for Infosys as an organization?
For Infosys as an organization.
Yeah.
Okay. So in fact, I joined Infosys way beyond Y2K, by the way. I joined Infosys even before we went public.
Oh, okay.
So one of the turning point itself, as soon as I joined, was Infosys going public.
IPO, okay.
Then the early part of 90s or through the 90s, it was a part of, it was a significant growth phase. And we were also pioneers in many things that we were doing. So in 1999, we got listed on NASDAQ. We were the first India-based company to get listed. That was something huge.
Huge.
Then we go to $1 billion in 2004. We say in Infosys, it took us 23 years to get to the first billion, and the second billion happened by 2006. So in 2 years' time, another 23 months, we say 23 years to get to the first billion, 23 months for the next billion. So in 2006, we go to the second $1 billion.
Wow. Now, dodging back to your career, what has been a point where you've taken a big risk or made a decision which was like, major landmark change in something?
So it's about almost 2 decades ago. I was quite settled in my work that I was doing. Everything was going great. And there is this opportunity that came where you could apply. This was sent across the company to become development center head of Mysore Development Center. And you go to move to Mysore to do that. Also, one of my mentors told me that it's a great opportunity. It's an opportunity that will give you a lot of visibility. That is because a lot of Mysore has, we get a lot of visitors from across the globe coming in there. And most of our founders, I'm talking about 20 years ago, they would come there very often. Almost all of the large events of the company used to get done there. So all of that, right? So the mentor told me it is a tremendous opportunity, but at the same time, if you didn't do well, you know what will happen, right? So it was in some way taking a risk of taking that responsibility. But in hindsight, I would say it was one of the best decisions I made.
Who have been some of your biggest mentors in your career? It could be work mentor or somebody in the family.
Yeah.
Or
so this is a question that get often asked, and I don't specify a particular person or set of people. I take mentoring, learning from a large number of people, and for me, life is about learning every day, and there are so many people. A lot of our founders I worked very closely with over the years. A lot of my managers and leaders, of course, we work with, and even learn from your team members every day, right? So it's a learning journey every time, and a lot of people have been mentors and supporters for me throughout my career.
what is that one advice you would like to give young HR professionals?
First, I don't like to give advice.
Okay.
But I am happy to share some of my learnings, though. All right. One of them is what I just mentioned, that if you want to get ahead in our career, at least for me, that is, it has worked. We got to take some risk if you really want to get ahead. And this is one of the examples that I just gave you earlier. My second learning is that opportunities come on our way every day. It is up to us to grab those opportunities. But if you were to take that opportunities, you got to be flexible about it. Sometimes you may have to stretch. It may not be the most comfortable thing for us to do at that point in time. However, if you really reach out and grab those opportunities, I've seen from my experience, it really takes you places. And my third learning is that we got to be lifetime learners.
What's next after HR for you?
Let me do this for some more time.
What is that something you do outside of work that keeps you pepped up and energetic and keeps the youthfulness in you? What is that?
I like to be active, so I play golf whenever I can. I like high altitude biking and some amount of trekking if I get a chance to do it. I did Everest Base Camp a few years ago. I biked to Gurudogmar Lake, Leh Ladakh last year. So I like to keep myself active, and of course I work out. So those are things I do.
Clearly, whatever you do, you're always in your A game. I can see that. Anything else you would like to add if I'm missing asking you something?
So a lot of what we spoke about today uh, focused on the technology and AI and all of that. But I think the human in HR is something that is not going to go away. Many times people say that or ask that is technology is going to take over HR. I, for one, believe that the human part of HR is something that is going to be time invariant. In fact, if at all anything with technology coming in, that should only release a lot more of time for the HR professionals so that they can do that humane aspect of HR.
Thank you, Shaji, for giving us time. It was wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much.
It was wonderful as well. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Shaji, for trusting us and taking the premium spot in season 2 of CHRO Club. As we wrap season 2, we look forward to many more conversations in season 3 with inspiring leaders and innovative ideas and thought provoking discussions. Thank you so much.